Hello everyone, welcome back to Age of Empires 2. So it's been a while since I've uploaded a game and I thought this one was certainly worth showing. So this is a 4v4 ranked team game and the map is Yucatan. And so I am playing in the gray as the Slavs. In the orange we have Santuka playing as the Chinese. And in the purple we have, let's see here, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but let's call him Purple. He's playing as the Britons. And then we have yellow down here, Elder Verez playing as the Khmer. And in the red we have Fakru playing as the Persians. And in the blue we have Jack, and in the green we have Kevin Lopez, and in the teal we have Tina. So I'm playing as the Slavs. And on a map like this, Slavs are definitely not terrible. And right from the get-go, I was thinking, alright, I'm going straight for BOYARS, because BOYARS are just absolutely devastating in large numbers. So I'm going to speed the game up here for a bit, because honestly, Dark Age was not too exciting. So, Yucatan's an excellent map, because you start out with all of your you get a ton of turkeys. All your herdables are in a great location. You can always get tons of food. You're never going to get off to a bad start on Yucatan. So, our side of Yucatan's also a map that's super wallable, because you can wall all these ponds and stuff, and then typically go to the ends of the map. So you have some nice work to do there. So kind of down here, we have Green. He's the Magyars, and he's going to be playing a very important role in this game. But these two pocket players, Green and Teal, they played out of their minds this game. They had some pretty good strategy. Teal is playing as the Vikings, and he uses a very unconventional strategy that I've honestly never seen for this map. So I was scouting around, and I wanted to go see who was next to me. So I set my scout up here, and I noticed the berry bushes right off the bat, so I knew someone was there, but I didn't know what color. So, okay, whatever. So I went out. At some point I do go forward here, but I do steal a few turkeys. So we'll just kind of wait for that. But Dark Age was great for me. I had everything I needed. All of my villagers were actually working with me. They weren't taking more than one sheep at a time. I always hate it when they try to do that by themselves. So they're going great. I got plenty on wood because I'm trying to build up for Slav farms, which are excellent. And honestly, I'm just trying to make sure that I have a smooth transition into feudal age. So got housed, which is always pretty bad. I'm just going to speed things up even more here, just because, like I said, Dark Age was definitely not much. So the other thing about Yucatan is the engagements are always usually very interesting because of the ponds. You definitely have some interesting choke points. You can go for water. You can use some interesting things on this map, but typically people just wall all the ponds, and it ends up being kind of you got to break through everyone's walls. So I send my scout forward here, and I find his turkeys. So I go through and I try to steal these, and he realizes it with this little villager down here. So, he's not getting these back. So I'm leaving with something. So this was great for me because this is denying him some food, but honestly on Yucatan, it's not like stealing sheep on Arabia. This is just like, cool, you get so many herdables, it really is not going to make that much of a difference. And this was kind of terrible play for me. All these idols right there, not great. But I do manage to steal 5 turkeys from this guy, which is an absolutely amazing performance. So, got lamed heavily, so that's great for me. Now, kind of down here at this end of the map where blue is, Yucatan's interesting with the way they spawn their rivers, because you have this river that has one crossing here. So, blue is pretty well protected from red, and blue is playing as the Indians. And Indians are not bad. You get those cheap villagers every time you go up to the next stage. And, he's going to be working with the Magyar player, which is honestly just great all the way around. So, again, I'm going to speed things up here because this was one of those games where nothing really happened too much till Castle Age. So, I wall and orange walls, and, pretty typical stuff, what you'd expect on this map. Just wall the ponds and hope for the best. So, because I stole all of his turkeys, I was able to make sure that I had plenty of food income to the next stage. I didn't really have to bother with my extra berry bushes down here. And being Slavs, I just made sure I went straight for farms right away, because Slav farms are absolutely amazing. So, I got a pretty good start going here. And the interesting thing was red definitely went for some early Castle Age aggression. This guy wanted to make sure that to put high amounts of pressure on blue, see if we couldn't get him to rage quit. And at this elo, I mean, this is kind of between 10,000 and 12,000 elo. At this elo, players typically rage quit when they're under a ton of pressure. So I don't blame them for doing that. So at this point in the game, you know, everyone starts arriving in Castle Age. Yellow arrived first, and Yellow I was expecting a lot more out of this guy, but you know, he kind of just went for more of an economic approach, and honestly, we didn't really see too much military out of him. So again, this was just one of those games where the late game action was certainly why it was such a special game. Absolute masterpiece for me and as the Slavs. So, okay, I'll go into Castle Age. Everyone's, you know, doing great, and I make sure to stonewall this because, I mean, I got Chinese as my neighbor here, and the Chinese do have some excellent siege that they can use, so I want to make sure that if this guy's going to pressure me in the Castle Age, I want to make sure that I can buy myself some time to go for Boyars. So, I was the last one to click up to the Castle Age because I was just slow. Because I wanted to make sure I had all my resources set up to make sure I could go Boyars and just pump them out in large numbers. So, this is where things got interesting. I'm going to slow it down here. So, you know, you have your market, you can see exactly what your allies are doing, and weirdly enough, Teal decides, alright, I'm building a dock here. So I'm like, you know, I mean, you can dock on Yucatan, it certainly is a strategy, but you don't see it too often. So, okay, he's going for a dock. And he's going to start producing Viking longboats, which are, I mean, they're a good unit and everything, but they're certainly not, I mean, a unit I'd expect to see on this map. So, Orange goes straight for archers, which as Chinese, that's typically a good play. Chinese do have very good archers, and honestly, he should be going for two canoes. So I just put up some towers here along my walls because I was thinking, alright, you know, if he's going for archers or something, I want to make sure that I can at least see it and, you know, have something, some damage in on them so I have time to react. So I figured that should buy me a little bit of time. And Blue tried this absolutely ballsy play here. So he sneaks in some villagers over to Yellow and builds a castle right in his face. And, I mean, Yellow's response is build a castle next to Blue's castle. So this is just weird. Blue's like, you know what? I think the play is go forward, build a castle right next to his castle. That's definitely going to cause some damage. So just okay. So I saw that and I was on my mini map and I'm just like, this is a weird game. And his base at home, he's got his extra town center. You know, he's got 3 TCs, he's booming, he's doing stuff, 4 TCs. I mean, he's got a good setup at home, but this was just crazy. And so he's like, you know what? One castle was not enough. So let's put another castle in his face, but it's going to be a doubt castle with the fact that all these knights are here. So all of his villagers get killed, and he's just got this half-built castle standing around out here. So this is just, So Yellow goes over and puts his castle next to Blue's castle, and it's just a crazy game. I'm like, what are you guys doing? So the play here would have been to delete that castle, because that's not going up. You can't sneak your villagers through there when there's that many knights. That's just not going to happen. So, okay, and he builds a siege workshop so he can start dealing with Blue's castle. So, okay, Blue does go for some early aggression, but while he's up doing that, Red comes in with the knights, and, you know, Persian knights are pretty good, but he's not going for archers. Well, he does have one archer, right, so I take that back, but, I mean, that's really not going to make all the difference. So he builds another castle up here, and this is where things continue to get weird. So, Teal's up here with 8 crossbows, and I mean, he's got some longboats up here doing some damage, but that's really it. So, okay, weird stuff, but whatever. And, you know, Orange has got all of his crossbows here, so it's like, okay, 8 crossbows versus 25, he's definitely got it. And there, I mean, Orange is grouping up to do something down here, so I'm like, what is going on? So I look at my mini-map, and I look down at Green's base, and I don't know if someone in the comments can explain this to me. There's something special about, like, the magic L with your houses. Because, I mean, it's not really a wall, really, because someone can still sneak units along that pond there, and this doesn't even go to the wood line, so I don't get what the big deal is about building your houses in L at this elo, but, you know, if it's a strategy, okay, that works. So Teal was just taking an absolute massive score lead. He was first of the Imperial Age, which, I mean, it's good play for Vikings. They can definitely cause some real damage in Imperial Age with their Berserks, and they have excellent Arbalests. So I'm like, what is this guy doing? So he sneaks a relic out of there, and it's like, okay, you know, he's getting his relics and stuff, but just, I mean, bad timing for him. Orange sends his archers forward right as he does that. I'm pretty sure Orange might catch his villager here. So, yep, finally, and I believe Orange did see the monk, so Orange is going to try to deny him that relic. So, while Orange is focused on that monk, Teal sneaks a villager forward, so okay, whatever. And Red down here is coming forward, and he's like, alright, you know what? We gotta put some aggression on this guy. So, it looks like Blue and Red are gonna have it out, but, I mean, Green comes over, builds a castle right in his base, so okay. Green's sitting there, I got your back. So, if anyone's wondering what I'm doing at this point, I am getting stone, building castles, getting some text research, and I'm still trying to get all my stuff ready to go full Boyar. I plan on going Imperial Age. If I'm going to build Boyars, they're going to be Elite Boyars. So, okay, still a weird game. So, Orange goes for Man-at-Arms. And when people are in the Imperial Age, Man-at-Arms are not too effective. So, and Orange builds a tower right next to his two siege workshops, which is a weird, weird play. And I'm not quite sure what these walls are. I mean, what the heck? Yellow's got this unfinished wall here. Purple walled behind. He just palisaded that, tried doing a half stone wall there. I don't get this. So, okay. And his base is still pretty much open because I'm not sure, but I do believe you could sneak something past right there. So really, your walling is pretty bad. So, okay, whatever. Let's just see how this game goes. So, Purple tries sneaking past some longbowmen and some long swords, which, you know, not a bad play. Not a bad play at all. And, I mean, Teal gets a castle up right in Purple's face. So this is not a bad spot for a castle at all. He can hit Orange, and he can hit Purple's troops as they come across. So good play by Teal. Certainly a good play for him. And this is where I notice I need to get involved because I notice, okay, Orange has a castle here. That is not good. So, okay, so I'm not even, I believe, yeah, I'm on my way to Imperial Age. And this is just getting super weird. So I'm mining stone. I'm just trying to make sure I can get at least 3 castles up so I can make sure that, you know, I can get tons of boyars out to do a ton of damage. So I'm just going to speed things up here a bit, just kind of as I do. So, I mean, this is kind of more of just a weird time where everyone groups up their troops in the center. And it's just weird. Because you have 2 rams here from Orange, 3 rams actually, a bunch of crossbows, 2 canoes, longbowmen, longswords. You got a ton of stuff here, really good stuff. And yet, I don't get what you're doing. So, Purple sends his units forward, and he tries to go for, you know, some raiding into Teal's eco. And, I mean, the reason I walled here to begin with was because Teal put up walls, but I noticed that that is definitely not going to work. So, that's a hole in his wall. I do not want to deal with that, and I'm pretty sure that's where Purple comes in. I'm not quite sure. Yep, Purple just walks right around, which is why I put up my own walls, because I did not want to see that. So Purple starts going for some damage, and just weirdly enough, Red is like, you know what, I'm going to build all of my buildings in your face. So, okay, Yellow does get involved in this, and he goes for Scorpions as Chimera, which is not a bad choice at all. Chimera do get excellent Scorpions. So this is just weird. At this point, I'm like, okay, this game could start going south because, I mean, if Purple keeps streaming in units into Teal's eco, we got a problem here. But, I mean, Green was nice enough to send some Cavalier over to clean that up. So we're still holding on quite nicely here. And Orange went for some traps and knocked out, I mean, Teal's castle there, which definitely was the play he needed to go for. But Teal's got a nice new castle up here. So Teal will actually just keeps on expanding up into this corner and eventually just put the castle right up there, which is just super weird. So this match was just crazy. So you got Orange fighting here. We have longboats here, which, I mean, the longboats, this was, interestingly enough, a very effective tactic because orange was not smart enough to move his trebs in behind his walls. I mean, he sends one back there, but he was not smart enough to do that earlier. So he loses 2 trebuchets, 400 gold down the drain like that because of the longboats. And the longboats do an excellent job of protecting here. So, okay, so at this point, I amass boyars, and I'm like, alright, it's time for me to make my move. So I treb down this front gate of his, and orange is in a bad spot, because all orange has is you have these archers back here, which, I mean, you have 24 total, which is not enough to really micro and do decent damage against boyars. So I send my boyars forward, and they take damage from that castle, so I'm like, okay, great, he's got a castle there, I can't really do much. So I'm just patiently use my trebs to knock out that castle, and I'm thinking, alright, this is the play to go for. And orange's reaction was he'll treb down my trebuchet, which is honestly a good move. So our trebuchets fight out there, and during all of this, green shows up and starts helping out blue here, which was a great play for green. Green kept blue in this game because honestly, blue is pretty open and very, very exposed. So we're back to what blue and yellow do. You know, they're good friends. Yellow tries going for a castle, and that's just gonna get denied. So, you know, blue had a doubt castle right in the middle of yellow's face, and so yellow comes forward, returns the favor. It's like, you know what, dude, it's alright. That must have been embarrassing for you. So I'll put a doubt castle up in your face so that way your allies can deny it. That way we're even. So, you know, they get even on their doubt castle just to make sure they're playing nice with each other. So I send all my boyars in, and this is why you have to patrol your units. Because if you just send them all in like that, they're going to get cleaned up easily. So I've got 65 elite boyars here, which is definitely a lot. So this many boyars, he's got nothing. So this is just going to absolutely clean up orange. And that's, I mean, there's no coming back from this for orange. This was a beautiful play for me because I just bought myself time. I knew exactly that teal was going to go forward and try something stupid, but when I saw the dock, and teal's strategy worked out great. This was a great play for teal. And those 2 villagers from teal, I told you, randomly come up here and, you know, a good corner castle, exactly what you need to build. So I honestly don't know why he did that. To me, it's a weird play. So, okay. I go forward and start pressuring orange because I'm tired of watching him destroy teal's building. So I'm like, I'm going to buy teal's space. But the longboats come in clutch yet again. Absolutely slaughters all of purple's units coming across the water here. So 6 longbows, that's not enough to do anything. So he starts trebbing down my castles, and for me that's not good at all because my only army composition right now is 100% boyars, and as Slavs you can actually pull that off because boyars do a ton of damage per hit, and they are heavily armored and they're just a great unit. Orange tries going for pikemen, but that's just not even going to do anything against boyars. Boyars are so good, they're one of my favorite units. So they just absolutely destroy all of purple's trebs, and orange resigns, and then yellow resigns, which is very interesting to me because, I mean, he did have some pressure being put on him by green, but not enough to where I would call, we need to call it GG in my opinion, because he still has his entire eco intact, so I think he definitely could have waited on that. So now I'm down to just purple and red. And red, you know what, let's go for another castle. Good idea. And at this point, it's looking great for our team. Blue's got tons of camels, which is, fine. Because red has paladins. Camels will definitely be able to do some damage against those. He is Indian, so I wish these were imperial camels. That would have made it go a lot better. And that was just a disaster by green. Don't run your trebuchets in front of your army. Send your army first so you don't lose your trebs. So, okay. Halbs and stuff, they'll clean up those paladins pretty decently. So I just send my boyars forward, and I'm like, fine, we'll just finish this game off because this is just getting ridiculous. So red finally resigns. I send all my boyars in against purple. Green's got my back, and purple's just gets overwhelmed, and purple will call the GG any second here, and that is the win for our team. So not a bad game. Definitely definitely a great teamwork by those guys. The big highlights of this game were definitely the doubt castle by blue up in yellow's face, and then we had the longboats on this river right here. So all in all, this was a fun game for me. I really enjoyed it, and that's about it for this one. So I'll just pull up the stats here, and definitely a good game. So just not the best timeline ever, But anyway, that's about this game. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.